we go. Alright, cut it out.
Alright, let's go home. We're getting rested.
Yeah. So let's just start out with this truck. So this is the $5,000 Duramax. Let's back up and get an overview of it. We should throw in a couple pictures of what it first looked like with the small hood and the color match.
I'm like shaking. I have so much
You're on
adrenaline.
that? I just drove it for the first time. We haven't been in anything
I haven't drove it for a while.
fun for a while. We bought this truck 2 years ago, bought it in an auction. The auction story was actually really funny. You got the keys?
No.
They're in it. Okay. So anyway, we're showing the truck. They're asking $7,000 for it, or $8,000, or no, it was
14.
It was 11. I have a screenshot. It was 11,000, I think. Yeah, I think it was about 11,000 is what they were asking originally for it. And then we went in person, and come here, we'll find some goodies. Yeah, I saw that it had a DSP-5 switch, guys. We had never owned a diesel before. I didn't know anything about these.
We own the broken one. But.
Yeah, but that was just a stock truck. And if you guys can still hear me, switch the switch. It's got a lobe tune. What's the RPM gauge?
You don't want to wash the injectors. So don't do it too much.
So this thing had a lobe tune programmed into it, and I was playing with the switch at the auction, found the lobe tune, and the sales guy comes out and is like, "What the hell's wrong with it? What's going on?" And we were just like, "I don't know. RPMs are all over the place. It's just broken." Like, we knew it was a lobe tune. I knew what a lobe tune was. We're like, "I don't know. This truck's just F. I don't know what's wrong with it." Anyway, so we settled on $4,500 or $4,800. Got it home from the auction, and then we were just kind of dumb high school kids and I didn't know too much about this thing. So we drove it around for a month, and then I
drove to school every morning, and then we're like, kept wondering why it took so long to get the heater on.
Yep, it took like 20 minutes, and like I had worked on trucks a little bit, but nothing like I know now kind of deal.
Freeze our ass off on the way to school.
And so we drive, and the heater wouldn't come on, and I finally did enough research to figure out that I had bad head gaskets. And I was like, I don't have the time or the money to get them fixed right now, so we're just gonna put it on the back burner. So that's why you guys haven't seen it. It's been parked forever, but we're finally breaking it out. We're starting to monopolize a little bit and get stuff rolling. So we're getting everything fixed around here, but let's go over it. What's all done to it? So we
Who knows? We have no idea.
Huh? Swap the front end. Yeah, I have no idea what's done to the drivetrain. I don't know if it's built trans, not built trans.
Just does burnouts.
But yep, we put the new HD style hood on it, like the LBZ hoods. We got this.
Hit broken one.
We got this grill on it, but I don't love it, so let's see how long it lasts. And then you come into the engine bay, got an AFE cold air intake on it, and then PPE boost valve back in there. And then
about 2 gallons of
EGT bunk.
power steering.
It's
and
got a bad
coolant.
power steering. Like, back when I didn't know it even had bad head gaskets, man, I was so dumb. We had like 3 or 4 parts, 2,500 trucks, they weren't diesels. I swapped like the brake booster, I swapped all sorts of stuff. So it's all fresh, but some of the lines are shot. We need to change them out. But we'll do that when we pull the motor out. And we'll throw in the motor because it's got bad head gaskets. Stock downpipe truck with hot tune and boost valve and all that stuff. With the stock downpipe, doesn't go too well for the head gaskets.
It's dirty everywhere, man.
Alec already showed you the exhaust. So it goes down pipe, and then it goes to 4-inch for like 2 feet, and then 5 inches to that axle dump.
Yeah, I didn't really show them.
6-inch clift.
We're hoping it has something done to the transmission.
Yeah, we're hoping.
We have no
It
idea.
shifts really hard compared to a stock Duramax.
Alrighty, it's early in the morning, and we're about to get started pulling this motor. So it's a 03 LB7, like I said. This one might be fun to get out of there because it's on a 6-inch lift, but we'll be all right. So first things first, showed you guys how to pull that grill off last night, and we're just gonna slide that right out of there. So let's get the headlights off of this thing, and then we're gonna probably move on to the bumper. Bumper is, I believe these, well, that bumper bolt's different than what it's supposed to be. So apparently this has been done before. But I believe these are supposed to be 15s or 17s, can't remember. But you pull those top 4, there's 2 there, 2 there, and then come up under the truck, And that bar right there, you have two 15s. Looks like I only got one in. So apparently they didn't put a whole bunch back together on this thing, but okay. So got the bumper. See, there's two bolts there. Then if you just follow this bracket up, there's a single bolt. Don't take it out, just loosen it. Makes it easier for the bumper to come out. Got those two, and then the same exact thing on this side that I just showed you guys on the other side. There's that bolt I was actually talking about telling you to loosen right there. And then there's the end of it. So these go to the frame, and then that's on the actual bumper itself, so you ain't got to take that off. And now this bumper is gonna slide right off. There's that bumper just chilling there. Don't forget the wires for the fog lights. You can see those sitting down in there, but we're gonna keep moving on. So the next thing I'm gonna do is usually when I pull these motors, I usually take the fenders off, but I don't got a lot of room, and I kind of want the front clip to stay assembled this time. So I'm actually going to be pulling the whole motor out and leaving the fenders on. So we're going to have to get this latch out of the way or disconnect the cable. Both are pretty easy. I'll show you how. And then we're going to want to drain our coolant. So let's see, which side is it? I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to show you. Where the heck is it? Yep, so right there. That's on the passenger side of your radiator. That's the coolant drain. Get a bucket under there, drain all that coolant out of your radiator. And then to get this core support off, you're gonna have a fender bolt here, fender bolt there, and then same on the other side. You got core support bolt there, core support bolt there. You're gonna have to you're gonna have to undo the AC lines, and then you're gonna have to also remove the trans cooler and just kind of hang that down so we don't have to disconnect the lines to that. Wiring harness, you can either pull all the wires out of the core support itself, or you can pull this fuse box and pull the cover and actually undo the whole connector out of the fuse block and keep all the wiring with the core support, which is more likely what I'll do, but we're just kind of going to see, and who knows, depending on how difficult it gets, I'll show you guys. I might just pull the fenders, but I doubt it. Here we got that coolant draining. I pulled the inner fender well out real quick. That's just a bunch of push pins. So we got that draining. Next I'm going to probably move on to doing some other stuff. You're going to have to disconnect your AC. And then I'll figure out the wiring. I'm going to get this battery out of here. But you also got to figure out your wiring for that core support. And then I'm going to pull this, probably this side inner fender as well too. We'll see. Okay, so I got the fuse box cover off. You have to take off that back fender support, but then all you have to do is like unpop it at the front of it, and it pulls up and off. And then just gonna keep unbuttoning some wiring off of it. The core support wires are these ones, so you have to do a clip there. Then there's like these little push things on the back and then the front of it too. So you got to pop this whole fuse box up and kind of tilt it up, and then you can take it out from the back if you do it that way. Alrighty, making some headway on it. You guys want to see? So we took out, there's two tranny lines going to the core support. One down there, one up there. They're held in by those little retaining clips. Pop those out with a pick or a flathead, and then just kind of massage them out there. They're in there pretty good usually. But then once you get those out there, I undid the AC line, and then I undid the clamp off the bottom coolant line, but haven't gotten it pulled off yet. Got the boost pipes out. Well, they're not out of the thing yet, but they're disconnected both sides. Battery tray is pulled out. The connectors to that module pulled out. I undid the ECM, so it's just sitting in there. So that's sitting right like that. I already showed you guys how to undo the wiring. We pulled that down through, it's just dangling. Runs with that. I gotta disconnect this still, wherever, back right there, that 10 mil, the coolant reservoir. So I gotta disconnect that still. And then this core support should be ready to wiggle itself out. I undid the top hose, the top rad hose, so that's undone. And that should be just about it. Oh yeah, I did pop off the tranny cooler. Just gonna let it dangle there. Make sure you don't bend it too much, so you don't break the lines, hurt them or something. And then should be good to get this thing out. Okay guys, so we got that core support out of there, it's off over there, and now we're just going to be continuing to chop through it. So you have two big connectors right here. You squeeze the tabs on the back of the connector and flip the thing backwards how it is now. Pull those two big connectors out. You're going to need to pull this wire off the glow plug relay. You're going to need to so this whole harness right here is what we're trying to get out. So you're just going to kind of follow it along and unplug everything from the AC, the alternator, and just kind of follow it down. The mass airflow I think is hooked up to it. Yep. So just all those plugs, and then we're going to go through, and geez, this thing is just disgusting. So we're going to have to get it cleaned up after we get it out, but we're going to go through and do all that. And then we're gonna pull the starter out and the starter wiring, and then we'll do the torque converter bolts. And we also need to you also need to disconnect these fuel lines, and then there's a bracket right there. You need to undo that bolt and the fuel lines. You have to use a little the fuel disconnect tools on those, and the motor mounts, and a little bit more. But we're just gonna get going on the wiring harness and go from there. Alrighty, we've kind of had some other stuff we're doing, so we haven't worked on the truck a whole ton, but I will show you guys what we have done. And we got the starter out of there. So these are the two starter bolts, 15 millimeter. You're gonna want to take, there's an 8 millimeter connection on it and a 13 millimeter connection you need to get off. It was easier with this a wrench, an open end wrench for me on the closed end side. And then I just for the top bolt, I just got it with I had the electric ratchet on the top. You could use a normal ratchet, be fine. And then for the bottom, I just got a ton of extensions, and right where that extension is in there, I just ran it from there back all the way out here and hit it with the impact. Came right out. And then disconnected the downpipe. So 7/16 the downpipe to the exhaust. Right there, that connection. And then that's all we've done so far. We got the wiring harness pulled out. You're gonna have to undo some clips in there. There's a 10 millimeter nut back there. Then there's those 2 grounds, and then the single ground on the other side, same spot. For torque converter bolts, I'm gonna run an extension all the way up to where the starter was, and then it's a 36 millimeter 12 point to get onto the crank bolt. I have a socket, but I don't know where I put it, so we're using a big old wrench I have to turn the motor over and hold it. And we're gonna break all those loose. I believe there's 5 or 6. I'll put it up in the video how many there is. And then once we get that, we'll do the motor mounts and all the bell housing bolts. And then we still have a couple little coolant lines and stuff to wrap up, and besides that, sucker's ready to come out. Okay guys, I don't know where I left off. I'm just gonna do a quick overview of everything I did and that you're gonna have to do. We pulled off this little battery box thing. It's just a 10 millimeter, sits up there. You got 2 10 millimeters on the front of the oil pan to drop that. And then get your 2 fuel lines and the fuel line bracket. We went over that, but I just barely did it. So that's all out of the way. Get all your bell housing bolts, all your nuts. The easiest way that I found to do it is, let me grab the wrench. On the couple of them I put this one on and another 6-inch extension.
but this is how I did it. This impact definitely helped on those. And on the torque converter bolts, I used that exact setup and just went in from here in the front. You're gonna have to turn the motor with it. Yeah, so you can see, you can go all the way back in right down there, just how you did the starter. To turn the motor, use a 36mm 12 point, like I said. We just barely hooked up the engine chains and it instantly popped. Make sure to sport your trans. But that should be just about good. It's kind of a pain to jack up the thing right here, but we'll get it. See if she wants to come out a little bit. There she goes. So gonna take a little bit of force and just messing with it to get it out of here. Now it wants to play. Alright, once over, make sure we got everything disconnected. And we're looking golden.
Here, I'll help.
Yeah, we're not gonna, we need both of our help to get this out. You just kind of gotta finagle it, and with this being on a 6-inch lift, it's a little hard to get this sucker to get it up all the way. Stock truck would be much easier, so, but we'll get it pulled out. You're probably gonna wanna use an engine leveler and some new grade 8 hardware. We just used old hardware, and there's an engine lift bracket in the back left by the downpipe. And then we went to the secondary alternator or dual CP3 bracket. So that's what we did, but we'll do a little overview once we get it out of there.